Hello, hello, friends. Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. How are you doing today? Oh my goodness, we are post summit. So if you are brand new here because of the summit, welcome, my friend. I'm so happy you're here. My name is Talia, and around here, this is our comfy space. This is where we talk about self-growth, moving forward, and most importantly, taking everything that you've learned, because I know you're wise, I know you're into self-growth, taking everything you've learned in your healing journey and everything else and actually living it in your life, moving forward into your dreams, which really means starting to live the life that you've seen in your mind's eye for so long. So I am so excited that you are here. And this conversation today is going to be perfect after the summit. I'm going to help you to implement. I want to talk about that. Implementing after we've been inspired, after we've been learning. So whether you tuned into the summit or not, it's going to be perfect. So before we go forward though in any of that, I really want to say thank you. Thank you to everybody that tuned into the summit, whether you listened to one episode or all the episodes. And thank you so much to every single one of the speakers. Seriously, am I right? It's been so trippy because all these people have influenced me. And there's certain people that I've listened to for years that I've learned from deeply, and being able to sit with them and have a conversation and then share it with you guys has just been such a cool experience. So I want to say thank you to everybody who listened, everybody who supported, who joined the insider circle, who shared, who participated, and most importantly, taking what you learned and listening with an open heart, as I know that you do, and implementing what stuck, implementing what really stuck out to you, allowing it to move you. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for entering it with an open heart and taking away what was meant to be taken away for you. Because there were so many powerful conversations, so many perspectives and breakthroughs. And I assume that most of you didn't listen to all the episodes because there was so much in the last month. They're going to stay right here on the podcast. So I encourage you to go through and listen, go through, see which topics really resonate, and listen to these experts because it was so good. There were so many breakthroughs, so many free gifts, so many practices to take into your life. And I know that some of you are note takers, and I've had DMs and people saying like, I've got pages and pages of notes, new ideas, new perspectives. So there's so much there for you. I'm so excited. So thank you to all of you that tuned in. Thank you for the support. And thank you so much to the guest experts for seriously bringing it. It was so much fun. So as we move into today's conversation, what we are talking about is the moment of inspiration, the moment after a breakthrough, or you've taken, as I'm speaking to all these courses and you've learned all this stuff. Maybe you tuned into every episode in the summit and there's so much that you're learning and taking in. In a season of growth, there are moments where we start to see things differently, and it's really important that we implement the work that we've been learning. So that's what we're talking about in this episode. We're talking about how we can't just continue to think our way into our next chapter. We need to start to take action, but how we can do that in a way that nourishes us, that is nervous system informed, that's not just about rah, like all or nothing, but really, motivating you and inspiring you into the next chapter. So if you listen to the summit, awesome. This is what we'll be talking about, now what? But if you didn't listen to the summit, you're still in this massive season of growth. So I want you to think about, what's been coming up for you, what you've moved through in the last couple years, what's coming up for you in the last couple weeks. And we're going to talk about implementing it. So I got your back. I'm so excited to dive into that. And for all of you that are new, I invite you over to Instagram. My handle is below. It's at Talia Joy Manifestation. Come visit. That's where I hang out. I'm posting stories and reels and, the Instagram stuff. But let's get to know each other better. I would also love to hear any perspective shifts you had, which episodes you really enjoyed, where there's some of the guest experts that seriously, it changed your life, it changed your perspective, it gave you tools, breakthroughs, reminders. I would love to hear about it. So you can come over, you can post and tag me on Instagram or send me a DM. I would love to connect and just hear, what you got out of the summit. So come follow me. Let's do the thing. Let's become friends. Let's take this to the next level. And I think with that, I'm good. Let's take a deep breath. Drop your shoulders, maybe take a sip of water, and let's get into today's episode. Okay, so put extremely simply, results come when we integrate, when we integrate into our lives, either like the plan or what we want for ourselves or a new inspiration or a new idea. It's when we integrate a breakthrough or integrate a perspective shift or something we learned. That's when things actually change. So, of course, we could think about something like health. You could learn about nutrition all day, but when you integrate, like bring it into your physical life, that's when it goes from being information into something applied, right? So unless you're going for a profession where you just have to regurgitate the information and don't have to live it, but if you were trying to get healthy and you learn about carbs and different diets and different, parts of your body and your digestion and your metabolism, if you don't integrate what you've learned, it's not going to do anything. You could go to, I've said this for years, you could go to an incredible Tony Robbins event. I've been to Tony Robbins events. They're amazing. But if you don't do anything with that inspiration, then the teachings fall flat. So if you just came from the summit and you've listened to some of the interviews or all the interviews and you're feeling inspired, or if you haven't listened, but you're going through your own stuff right now, you've been learning, you've uncovered things, you've learned a lot about yourself, but most importantly, you have big visions, dreams, and desires on your heart. And I know that. So as you come here with those desires and dreams on your heart, coupled with the fact that you already know a lot about your own self and different wounds, doesn't mean we know it all or that we're cured or, figured out, but we're self-aware humans. We are driven humans. You're at this place. This is where we integrate. So I want to ask you first, what stuck out for you through the summit, or what has come up lately? What has come up lately in your life about what's important to you, or an inspiration, or something you've been learning about? Maybe your priorities are shifting. Maybe you have a desire on your heart that's getting like, okay, it's fucking go time. Let's do this, right? Or what interview are you still thinking about from the summit? What sentence have you heard that it just stuck with you lately? And so taking some time to think about that or seeing what comes up, I always have asked my clients, and on the podcast here, I've talked about for years, it's not just about randomly going out and creating some random version of success. It's like, what's next for you? What are you ready for? What are you stepping into? Is right now your health calling you, your business calling you, abundance and money and wealth calling you? Is it about, finding a certain thing like a space to rent or a partner, or what's on the mind? What's next for you? What's on your heart? So this is what I've noticed, that the things that stick with us are never random. I could go into spiritually what I believe and all that stuff, but I believe and I know that these are here for a purpose. I've always said your version in your mind's eye of your dreams, of your goals, of your next level self, like that is meant for you. It's not just a random plucked image from somewhere else, because every single person that all your friends, everybody on your block, everybody's going to have a different version of what the vision. Everyone's going to have a different vision of what the perfect maybe vacation is, or what abundance means to you, or what the dream life is, or what the dream body is, right? Yours is yours. So the things that come up for you, whether it's a little bit triggering or it's like, whoa, I never thought about it like that, or oh my gosh, everywhere I look, it's nervous system. And the things that really resonate, they are not random. They are pointing you in a direction. You are ready to see something differently. You're ready to act differently. You're ready to live in a different way, right? In this area of life. So every single time we're ready for growth, every single growth edge, every single goal we leap into, I just want to say is always scary. And everything that you're meant to learn and all this stuff, it's confronting. It's going to trigger us sometimes. It makes us go like, holy shit, can I? Maybe we start fearing and we're in sabotage and we're in our mind and all that stuff, fine. But it's still calling you forward. You are ready to do it differently. You're ready for new abundance, new love, new health, new vitality in your life. So this is kind of the essence of what I'm talking about today. Inspiration is everywhere. You can listen to something, even education is everywhere, right? You can go Google something, you can chat GPT something, you can be listening to a podcast and have a breakthrough, you can learn more about digestion, you can learn, really anything. We're in the age of information, and even it's getting to the point of like inspiration overload. So we can have these breakthroughs. We can have these like, holy crap, I never realized that, right? While we're in yoga, while we're walking, while we're, working or whatever. But inspiration and education and learning stuff is not the same as transformation. Inspiration opens the door, or learning about something new guides you toward the door. But transformation happens when we walk through it. And that's the action piece. So a lot of us miss this part because we don't know what the right step is. And I'm going to get into it in a second. We're usually either in fear or we're kind of in overwhelm of like, there's so many possibilities. I'll get into it in a second. But we stay in those things instead of moving forward because we think we need clarity to change. But clarity actually isn't where the change happens. Results come as you walk the path. The path, I want to make like a really wise phrase, like the patheth appeareth as you walk downeth. That's not it at all, but you get it. The path will appear. It reveals itself as you take a step. And isn't that the way it's always worked, right? This thing led to that thing, this thing led to that thing, and you couldn't foresee it all. Results come not from sitting here and figuring it all out perfectly and then acting. Results come when you act. When you do your best, when you move in the direction, you learn, right? You learn as you go. You grow through what you go through, as I always say. So this is why people don't tend to move, or we tend to get super inspired. We go to a Tony Robbins event, we learn all these things, maybe even work with a coach or read a book or do a course, whatever it is. And we don't integrate it into our life. But I know you're here, you are so ready, you're all about this. And I have really seen that in this position, this is when I work with people, and most people don't struggle. The people that come to me or listen to the show, most people don't struggle because they're unaware. Right? You're actually deeply aware. You know a lot. You're an old ass soul. You're here for big things. You've done a lot of courses or introspection or therapy or podcasts or whatever's been your method. You've read the books, you've done the work. And although there's always more work to do, you're not new to transforming and overcoming. So it's not ultimately that you're confused. It's that usually you're stuck in one of these two spirals. So the first spiral that's really common, and this is something that most people think of, is the fear pattern or the fear spiral. So this is like waiting, overthinking, being like consciously scared. What if this fails? Or just endlessly needing certainty, needing to feel ready, needing clarity. And a lot of us do deal with this. So this is like a fear spiral that'll keep us from moving forward because it's like, well, what if it's wrong? Or what if I don't do it right? Or what if I do this and that leads to that, right? That's all in our head. But the other spiral I want to talk about that is usually a hidden one with my clients and kind of my favorite to help people with because it's myself as well. But the second spiral is the possibility spiral. And this is when you're inspired, you've got ideas, you've got so many ideas, you've got new directions, new visions, new versions, new education, you're aware of like your shadow or your inner child or what you want for yourself. It could feel like there's just so many possibilities. You could do that, you could do this, you're passionate about this. And this is where things aren't landing because it feels maybe like you can't choose or you're just not sure which direction to go. I totally get it. But this is where there's nothing wrong. It's actually a possibility spiral. It's where there's so much potential that it's hard to ground it. And that's usually when my clients come to me, is either they're in a fear spiral of waiting and overthinking and consciously feeling like I'm scared to move forward. And the other one is like, I'm ready, but I'm not even sure which direction to go. And there's so many possibilities, and both are workable with, but these are the things we need to be aware of. So this is the part that really changed for me. It's realizing that you're not stuck often because you don't know enough. Sometimes we're stuck because we know too much, because there's so many possibilities and ideas and directions, as I'm talking about, that it's not about more thinking. And the reason I'm laughing is because if any of you know me personally or have followed along the show for a long time, like I'm super deep to the point where like socially, I'm like, don't be so deep, Talia. Not everybody, like people just sometimes want to talk about the weather. But for me to say sometimes what is missing is actually not sometimes what we are missing is that it's not more thinking or uncovering or decoding or waiting for a sign or being certain that this is where my soul wants me to go. Like that's where I could get wrapped up. And I've been in business 12 years. I've been wrapped up in a lot of things over the time, but that was something missing. Is I was always in my head or in my intuition or in the energies, but I wasn't grounding it. And sometimes what is missing is not more thinking, it's grounding. It's movement. It's entering the arena instead of observing it from your mind. So for an example, if somebody came to me and part of their goals, with business or whatever else, there was also, I want to get more fit. And I'm like, okay, what do you want to do? Well, I hate the gym. I do this. Well, what do you like to do? Oh, I like to, go for walks. Okay. Why don't you go for a walk tomorrow? Tell me how it felt. Or go for 2 walks this week and let me know how it feels. Okay. I love it, right? Let's go for maybe a few more walks. Okay. And you get into a momentum of discovering you really like walking. Or you start doing that and you go, you know what? I like it, but sometimes like it hurts this part of me or whatever it is. Okay. What else do you like? Well, you know what? One time I did tennis. One time I did Pilates. One time I did yoga. One time I, whatever, rollerblade, fruit boot, I don't care. But what do you like to do? And you go, well, I do really like riding my bike. Okay. Is there a trail nearby? Yeah, actually. So why I'm spelling this out is to just sort of show how as you move, that's when the path unfolds. I've talked about the GPS forever, how your dreams, what you want, what you desire, life is guiding you there. Rumi says that what you are meant for is also meant for you. But we have to enter the arena. We have to enter our car. We have to, put it in drive and get out of the driveway to start getting those directions. So sometimes you launch into business in a way you think it's going to go and something happens and we go, oh, okay, that's not actually what I want to do. Okay, let's pivot. Like my business in 12 years has been a massive series of pivots. Everybody's has been. Your life has been pivots. Your health will ebb and flow and change and morph and all of it. So often it's not more thinking, it's grounding, it's movement, it's safe action that actually starts to move you forward. And when you say you're ready, the next piece is different action. And it's not 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. It's incremental action in the direction of your dreams in a way that feels aligned. That's what I do with my clients. So as you're listening to this, especially if you've listened to the summit, I just want to ask you, what are you meant to do with what you've been learning, what you've heard? Not understand, but what is calling you forward? What are you called to integrate into your life? What is a small action that you can take to move in that direction? And we want to be continually asking this of ourselves. You could do a monthly inventory, not just after the summit or after an event. We are always learning. You're listening to podcasts, things are coming up. And I actually like to every day as I'm laying my head on my pillow, I actually ask myself, what has been coming up for me lately? And every time I internally hear something about, like whatever it is, I'll always hear a different message. So sometimes it's like, you really need more time for yourself. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Or what's coming up for me right now? Like, oh, rest is so good. I'm so glad I went to bed early. This is good for me. Yeah, you're right. Or maybe it's, I need to change something, shift something in my business. That is important information. So as you ask yourself often, what is coming up for me right now? How am I meant to implement this? And you can ask yourself a question like, what is the smallest action I could take tomorrow, like easy peasy, that moves me in this direction? Or depending on where you're at in life, you could list what are 5 actions I could do in the next week that move me toward this thing I say I want, this thing that is coming up for me, whether it's business, health, emotional needs, something you need to look at, a physical decision you need to make. What is coming up for you? What is calling you? Where are you meant to go right now? What are you meant to live? What is next for you? So this is, again, what I do. I help self-aware people, this is what we do on the podcast, stop living in their heads and move into real life, because that was the biggest shift for me, is taking everything I've learned and turning insight into action, possibility into reality. It doesn't matter what we're doing, whether it's business strategy or emotional healing. When we turn insight into action, possibility becomes reality. And we bridge that gap between knowing what we want and actually living it. And that is the biggest difference. And if I can do it, trust me, you can do it. Because I'm not special. I mean, I am, but I'm the exact same special unicorn that you are. And I was never born with quote unquote discipline. I didn't love myself. I didn't believe in myself. I felt different. I was bullied. We'll talk about that another time. But I wasn't predispositioned to have some sort of, belief in myself and a strong life force energy and go after and take action and love yourself. I've come to this place through this work. So if someone who felt broken beyond repair in addiction and eating disorder and deep suffering, deep self-hatred, if I can come to this place, I know you can. Whether you've experienced something similar or you're just on this journey resonating with everything we're talking about here, it is time to bring what you're learning into action. And we don't need to do it all. We don't need to overhaul everything at once. So pick that low-hanging fruit. What is next for you? What area of life is calling you now? What do you need to do? Because your next chapter isn't built in your mind, it's built in your life. If health is a thing, just go take a walk, see how it feels, see where that calls you. You might think of an incredible idea going for that walk. Make it simple. Do things that make you feel joyful. Love yourself, nourish yourself, build up the parts of your life that are calling you, one step at a time, one decision at a time. Because at some point, you truly stop thinking about the life you want to live and you realize you're living it. And I know you've done that in many areas of life before, but that's the powerful part is like, let's keep doing this. Let's keep integrating. Let's ground it into reality. Okay, I am so excited. And if that sounds like you, if you are that self-aware person that wants to drop from your head into real life, so if you need help with exactly that, reach out to me. I have one-on-one mentorship available in this summer. All the information is in the show notes. And I am so excited for you. I can't wait to hear what you got out of the summit. And so hit me up on Instagram. I will see you there. And I will also see you in the next episode. Namaste, my friend. Sending you love.